This PS Vita has some problems. Let's just cut straight to the chase and see what happens when we try to use it. Oh, it's gotta be. What? Guy wants me to fix his thing, but locks me out with a passcode. I gotta. 1 second. Okay, we're officially in. Oh. Okay, the left joystick seems to have a mind of its own. Like, I didn't do that, I swear. Let's try this in a game. Oh, I can't even get to it. Let me get to the game. Alright. Okay. I don't know if you guys can... It was pretty clear in that last shot that the character was walking on their own. So with this joystick, we definitely have some kind of ghosting issue. Mainly it thinks it wants to go up on its own. So we'll take this apart, look at it, and see if we can do anything short of replacing it. And if we can't, then, well, we'll replace it. Here we'll use a 2mm Phillips driver. There's also two right down here by the USB charging slot. And under the game lid, we have one more in the corner. Make sure there's no game inserted up here. Make sure also there's no memory card down here. And in this case, there is one in there, so I'm going to take that out. So you just kind of got to finesse this at a certain point. I had a shoulder button fall out. There is a ribbon cable right here that, in good conscience, I cannot just leave dangling, so we'll take that off. There's these little tabs on either side that I should be able to just push out. Okay, while we're here and the other one fell out anyway, I'll take out this shoulder button. This stuff is always harder to do when things are covered in dirt and dust and such. I'm gonna clean it off with an alcohol rag and air duster just to make things easier for me to see what's going on. And like the other piece, do you see this? All that? Like it has nothing to do with what we're trying to do right now, but look at that. Like, what's in there? Is that honey bunches of oats? We can't live our lives like this. We're not barbarians. Okay, good enough. We're happy. So I flip that black tab up. Now it should come up pretty easily. Okay, so we get another screw here. And this is our problem joystick. You can see some dust just fell out of it. That can't be good. I mean, I could take this thing apart and see if I can figure out any obvious issues, or I could just do the easy thing and replace it. What do you think, Katie?
Definitely think you should take it apart. That's way cooler. If you can't figure it out, then you can always replace it.
That sounds too hard.
Fantastic Quack. You can do it.
Alright, I guess we should try to take this thing apart. Looks like there's some tabs. There are 4 springs we need to remove. So I'm seeing something that makes these extremely difficult to work on. The plastic nub here and here are actually riveted. They've used heat to press them down and kind of mushroom them over the metal, so they're essentially blocking that from coming out at all. And the only way I can get down to that is by physically removing those with a knife. There's a lot of them. There's 2 here. There's also 2 directly tied to a circuit. But since this thing is broken anyway, I think I'm going to try just that. Now this is the really tricky one because I don't want to damage the circuit when I do this. So they tricked me. There's actually another very small rivet that was under that metal piece. Okay, so we've removed the flex. It's really interesting to see how that connects. So there's those pads there, and on this end, a slider that will wipe up and down those pads when this joystick is moved on that axis. And on the other side, I'm guessing we'll find the same thing. And we do. So that's how it controls, I guess, the resistance. I'm assuming this is some type of potentiometer-based device to sense where the joystick is at. Really neat. At this point, as best as I can tell, we need to kind of just pry these two pieces of plastic apart. You can see how that kind of can pry away. Oh, guess that's all I needed to do. And when I did that, this contactor piece fell out, which is not great. But I can see there's a hole in there and a corresponding shaft right there, so it's a matter of just dropping it back in when the time comes. But we're trying to take this thing apart, so we'll set it aside. And to that end, we'll remove this one as well. Let's see if we can pry this white piece up. Okay. Well, you find things like this in here and maybe you start to realize what the issue could have been. And at this point now, the joystick just kind of pushes through. And there is one more moving piece in here. It's really hard to see on the camera, but another little bowl-shaped guy. I'm gonna just put that back. It might be worth trying to clean these parts out and put it all back together and see if it works, but at this point, let's just put in a replacement switch. I mean, who knows if it's going to work? We've already cut off the rivets that need to be heat staked. It's maybe a lost cause and not really worth the effort. And after saying that, of course, I'm trying to put it back together now. I'm going to see if I can use a soldering iron to get that heat stake reestablished. I mean, I think that kind of worked. It's not probably as strong as it was, but it's on there. Let's try this side now. Good enough, I guess. Oh no, I didn't get it on camera. I pinned that down and burned it. Let's do it with this one too. Okay, so everything is staked in place again. Gotta put those springs back down. Okay, that's on. Now we gotta get this thing back. Alright, I think those are staked well enough. So this switch is back to normal. I forgot to mention that I took this apart and put it back together, but also I cleaned it off very thoroughly with alcohol and sprayed everything out with air duster. Additionally, I did take these flex pads here and clean them with alcohol. I don't know that that's going to be enough, but we'll see. Should we try it and see if it works again? This I'm gonna leave loose because it's just a shoulder button. So I guess now we gotta set the date. Well, here we are. Let's see what happens. Wow, that actually appears to have fixed it. I mean, it's not ghosting up anymore. Well, I'm kind of surprised. Just cleaning it out really worked. Well, shucks, and here I had preemptively bought this new Switch because I thought I wouldn't be able to fix the old one. What do you know? Sometimes you just gotta clean things out. Let's finish putting this back together. And guide it in there. I didn't mention it before, but this little brown tab is supposed to flip up like that. Now we can bring in the lid. Now we gotta put those shoulder buttons back in. Well, he doesn't seem to be randomly going forward anymore. That's good. Dang, this game is hard to control. Seems like everything's working. So the PS Vita is saved, and we didn't even have to use the extra switch. I was glad to see that we could keep the original part. Obviously, it's better quality than the replacement, which is some cheap knockoff anyway. I surprised myself that the heat stakes that actually kind of held the circuit to the joystick all together, that they were able to be reestablished even after cutting them off. They're probably not as strong as they once were, but I mean, everything's held together and it's working, at least far better than it was before. Really what the issue came down to was dirt, debris, dust bunnies, etc. So I'm guessing some of that dust that you saw come out of the joystick box was messing with the circuitry, either partially shorting it or in some other way affecting the resistance, which caused a command to be sent that said go up or whichever direction, even when the stick is in a stationary position. Now that we've cleaned everything out, it doesn't have that problem anymore. I'm happy with the result here, and the PS Vita is good to be played again. So I'm going to return this back to the owner. Hopefully they say, hey man, thanks for that. And if they don't, either way it was fun to do. So I hope you got something out of this, and thanks for watching.